My name is John McLaughlin and I'm the Building Development Coordinator here at the Carnegie Building in Newcastle upon Tyne, which is in the west end of the city. A little bit about the building itself. This building was built in 1908 by Andrew Carnegie, and there's a very interesting link. Andrew Carnegie is actually famous for the Carnegie Hall in New York, in Manhattan. And he's also had his foot here in Benwell, which is quite interesting for a lot of people. This building was built as one of his first public libraries and opened its doors, I believe, in April 1908. And here we are today, 104 years later. The building's still here and providing a whole range of vibrant services to the local community. Well, Andrew Carnegie was a philanthropist, a social entrepreneur, and what's interesting, it's almost gone full circle with this building. We've now set up here as a social enterprise. We are part of Riverside Community Health Project, but all of the profits generated from Carnegie Building Limited are reinvested back into Riverside, so we're set up as a separate and distinct company. Within the building, we have a range of things going on. On the top floor, we provide a number of services which are delivered by agencies. We've got the Health and Racial Equality Forum upstairs and their workers. We've got Someone Cares, who are a regional charity who do work with victims of abuse. And we also have Children's North East, who provide the Youth Link service from upstairs, so there are established tenants in the building. On the ground floor here, we have a range of space for rental. We have the Beecham Hall, and we have the French room, and we have the Steel room, which are all available for groups to book out and for organisations. And we're doing a number of conferences and things in here. So all of the money we make from our tenants and from the room rental is reinvested back into Riverside Community Health Project.
My name is Anne Steele, and I've lived in Benwell for most of my life, different parts. I've used this library, and so has my family, you know, my mother and all her friends all use this library. Apart from being a meeting place, it was where they swapped their books, and the kids used to come in here, and they were allowed to play, but there was always somebody to say, now, come on, that's enough. Choose your books and, don't spoil this library because it belongs to you. We used to always say that. Well, for me personally, it was just a marvellous feeling to go, because I mean we were brought up and my mother and them couldn't go and buy the latest books or anything, but could come up here and get, up-to-date books, and we got a lot of learning. That at school I was very, very naughty, and so coming to the library I could get books and read about stuff. That builds your imagination. I've wrote poetry and I have done a book myself. It gave you encouragement to think, oh well, I could do that. But I've always loved the library. But this building itself always seemed like magic to me. It's going from strength to strength anyway, and I can only see that it'll get better as time goes on. And of course, every generation is different, and they want different things, and I think you've got to move along with that. Listen to what the people want and try to give them as much as you can. I've got an old clipping here of a very famous woman who used this library all the time. And there's a lovely photograph of her, Billy Cummins, and she had plenty to say, a little bit like myself. And when I was looking at this photograph at home, and I thought, there were so many people who put a lot into this building, and we shouldn't forget them.
Well, obviously this is an old building. Riverside has taken this building on for quite a long period of time. and the investment that's needed in here is quite significant. So the ground floor is complete now. We've done all of the work to refurbish these rooms in the Beecham Hall, but there's a lot of work to do on the external of the building. Our plan is to try and restore it back to how it looked when it originally opened in 1908. Well, this is very much a community hub, and as well as having all of the bookings for conferences and training, we've got quite a big meeting on today about the impact of the cuts that are being proposed by the City Council for the area. So we've got a public meeting about to start very soon. So it is interesting in that when Andrew Carnegie set these public libraries up, they were envisaged as being community hubs, which didn't just do work around basically handing books out. It was around organising meetings and supporting communities to get involved. And here we are 104 years later since the building opened. We're about to have a big public meeting today where local residents are getting together to see what they can actually do to hopefully prevent some of these cuts from happening.